In this week's episode, we welcome current Port Vale first team player David Worrell. He discusses his career to date, a debut that didn't quite go to plan, and his experience of coaching in the club's academy, developing the club's youngsters. Don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel and have a look for us in the App Store.
Afternoon, Woz. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us at PCT today. How are you and the family, and how are you finding lockdown?
They're all good. Kids running riot. So you see, we've got two of them with my missus, or I get the other two 3 times a week. So when there's 4, it's a bit carnage. So trying to get them all still and doing some homeschooling.
So looking forward to getting back out on the grass and getting back to supposed normality.
Yeah, definitely. A few hours of peace and quiet at football. That's what it is.
Happy days, mate. Just obviously the reason for the chat today, just wanted to, talk football really, go through sort of your career to date and obviously the transition to coaching, and see if we can get some, bit of information out for any potential players or coaches out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Great stuff. But so let's go right the way back then. Made your debut at 16 years old for Bury. Must have been a very proud moment being so young and making your professional debut.
Yeah, definitely. It was huge. Like my dad always come and watched. He was there. So disappointed about the result, but we got beaten in. But I was just happy to just get some minutes. I knew I was getting a few days before. I did well for the first team in training. Made a tackle on one of the older pros, and more or less smashed him. And the manager, loved it. And I think that was the reason he brought me up.
Yeah.
And put me on the bench.
So just obviously coming through the sort of academy system as it would have been, were you played up at all? Was it something that you knew might have been coming?
Yeah, I was lucky, to be fair. I was just playing grassroots football with a local team, and then Bury, one of my mates, played for Bury, and he was short one Sunday morning.
Right.
So his dad rang my dad and said, "Look, is he free?" He went, "Yeah." He went, "Could you just bring him down to make the numbers up?"
Oh wow!
And I played a game, and then he said, "Can you keep coming? We'll sign you." So I just said, "Yeah, go on then. If it's Sundays, I'm quite free." So yeah, and then obviously training twice a week, and then after a bit, I played up for the under-16s. I was under-15s at the time, and then I played up, and that's when they kind of said, "Look, you're gonna have to leave your grassroots team. We want you just to play for us and concentrate on this." So then I made the decision, did that, and then just all kind of went from there. I was very lucky that a few lads didn't turn up.
Oh, a bit of a whirlwind sort of experience then, from playing, I'd say, with your mates at grassroots to suddenly, or very soon, making your first team debut at 16.
Yeah, definitely. It was crazy. I couldn't believe the way it's all turned out. Looking back, how fortunate I was.
Not long after that, I'd say a big move as such to West Brom, £50,000. Pretty big decision to make at a young age to move from Bury.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of weeks after the game, the managers came to me and said, Liverpool and West Brom want you to go training with them for a week each. So I said, I didn't want to go, to be fair. I was like, I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm happy here, to be fair. And he said, just try it. So I went and trained with Liverpool's under-23s, like the reserves at the time. Did a week there.
Yeah.
They had a driver, some big Mercedes, come pick me up every morning and drop me off.
Wow.
That was crazy. And then the week after, I went to West Brom and I lived in Diggs for the week and trained with their first team.
Wow.
So kind of then they went back to Bury, trained there for a bit, and said, "Look, they both want you." They put a bid in. They've both been accepted. It's up to you.
Oh.
And I've turned around. Chris Casper at the time was a manager, and I said, "Don't want to go. I'm happy. With the first team here. I'm young. I'm still doing, my college work with a football club. So I'll just stay here." And then his face dropped and went, "Well, we kind of need the money, and for you, I think, it'll be good for you, being a young age, getting, better coaching, better facilities."
Yeah.
So I think he kind of made my mind up for me.
Quite a bold decision at a young age to go, and no disrespect to Bury, a so-called bigger club.
Yeah.
And made your first professional start in a friendly against Hajduk Split as a 17-year-old. Talk us through that, because it wasn't really, obviously, I imagine the game didn't pan out how you wanted it to.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, I think there's a big difference. Like going grassroots to Bury, it was kind of, a bit of the same, rough, flying to tackles. And with West Brom, that was my first stage, learning, thinking I can't fly in like that.
Yeah.
So the guy was on the floor with the ball in between his legs. So I've gone rushing in and just put my foot studs in, to scoop the ball back out.
Yeah.
He's turned, so I've just scraped everything. And as soon as I seen the red card, I thought, oh no. So I'm walking through the tunnel. For a friendly, the fans was throwing stuff at the tunnel.
Really?
I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is scary. And I was just waiting for the managers to come in, give me a bollocking. But then the lads came in, laughed at me. Laughing, then the lads came in and said, don't worry, it happens. Just learn from it. So I was happy I didn't get any fallback from that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tony Mowbray came out and described it as a bit of a harsh decision, and also said that it looks like you've got all the right things you need to make it to the top. That must have been a massive confidence boost after, obviously, the harsh decision.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was in the reserves for a while. After that, I was doing well. I was captain a few games. I trained with the first team every day. Tony Mowbray and Matt Venus, really looked after me, helped me, and developed my skills, my weaker skills, especially with my left foot. Some days after training, I'd be out for an hour with them, just using my left foot only, crossing, shooting, passing. So they do top quality coaches, manager. So but they love the young lads and works with you. So that was one of the reasons I chose West Brom over Liverpool.
I'll touch back on that sort of later on when we go to the coaching side of it. Not obviously a loan spell went out to Accrington and cut short with a hernia injury. I can imagine, obviously, with the red card and then the injury, it was a bit frustrating when you were trying to build your game experience up.
Yeah, definitely. Accrington was, just a different world, to compared to what I had at Bury. That was getting off away games, travelling on the coach, and then stopping it on a field, a Cowles field or anything, to train, do set pieces, and then small-sided games. Yeah, it's like a different world. But I think I'm lucky. I've experienced quite a bit. Different managers, the way football clubs, go about, the training and everything.
Yeah, I mean, after the hernia injury, you went out to Shrewsbury, where unfortunately missed out on promotion on a last minute winner from the opposition. Do those moments stay with you and act as a bit of motivation moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. Especially playing at Wembley at such a young age for the first time, because there's people who go through the career and never play there.
Yeah.
Scoring a penalty in the semi-final against Bury as well in the playoffs. So it was nice, but it was a bit, it's your club, give you the first opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Simpson was your manager at Shrewsbury. He later went on to win a World Cup with England under-20s. Did he show signs of being a sort of World Cup winning coach during your time at the club?
Yeah, Paul, he was a great manager. He was an unbelievable coach. The sessions he puts on, the way he wants, your team to play, and defend. He's good. He knew how, to get you going. Mm-hmm. And just on the training pitch, he was. You could tell his sessions and his coaching style. Was different class. It's shown we had a bit of an average team, with a couple of players, who stood out.
Yeah.
But he got the best out of everybody, and that's the reason, we got to the playoffs.
And you, after that, moved back to Bury 4 years later after sort of making your debut. Was that a chance for you to go back and give something back to the club who gave you that debut?
Yeah, definitely. I lived such a young age, living away from home. Being in and out of a club so far, I just want to play football. It's a chance to be back home. You know, just concentrate on playing games. Because when you're young, it's training. You know, trying to make yourself a better player.
Yeah.
Then I was coming to the age where I just wanted to play now. You know, and like just every Saturday, you know, with your mates, if it's grassroots or anything, you just want to play football. You know, competitive games. You know, win football games in front of crowds.
Yeah. Okay. Successful season as you got promotion to League One that year that you returned. Surely that has to be an unforgettable moment as a boy from Bury, really.
Yeah, definitely. It was a different class the way we did it. We had a very good team. Like we kind of knew pre-season. You know, we had something good. You know, with the squad we've got, like, in our heads, we all knew we should be getting promoted if it was automatic or playoffs. But I think just the way we did it, in like won 6 games on the bounce, and then beat top of the league at the time Chesterfield in the last minute. So I had to get promoted that way. Away at Chesterfield, who hardly lost that season, with a squad and the money pumped into the club was there at the time. It was huge. So it was just happy to get automatic with a few games spare, so we could just relax a bit, and enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the following season, you were voted Player of the Season by the Bury fans. Although you dedicated the award to Stephen Schumacher and Peter Sweeney, just talk us through that. Why was that?
Just the older pros. Like wherever I've been, the older pros seem to get on with me, and help me.
Yeah.
I think it's because I can't shut my mouth sometimes. A bit of a trying to love to have a laugh and a joke.
Yeah.
But with the squad, we'd always meet up. Like if we had Monday off, we was always together having food and a couple of drinks on a Sunday. It was a close team. Like for me, the way Peter Sweeney and Schumacher performed that season, it should have really gone to them. Or them too.
Yeah.
But obviously, I was just I wasn't really bothered about the awards. I was just bothered about playing still. And just enjoying football.
Would you say that's a big part of the process of being a professional player, enjoying what you do?
Yeah, definitely. You grow up wanting to be a football player for most lads, and to actually do it as your job. I don't see it as a job, especially as a young lad. I didn't. I seen it as I'm getting paid to play football. My hobby, something that I've always wanted to do. So, like everyone at dinner time when you're back in school, there's a football and everyone's playing football.
Yeah.
You just think, you can't beat this. Is the best part of your school day. Playing football after school, playing football. I'm lucky enough that I'm one of the fortunate ones to make it.
The following season, after the joys of promotion, unfortunately relegation followed. How does relegation stick with you as a player, and just how much does it affect the club?
Massively, I think we was like doing all right in League One, and then we lost a few players to Sheffield Wednesday, 2 of the lads, and then people already got moves for the summer after he was out of contract. So it was tough, and then problems was going on at the club, money problems.
Yeah.
So, it was a tough time. The manager left for another club. They've kept us all together.
Yeah.
So it was a horrible time, and you kind of know, it was coming, just with the way we was training, playing. The crowds, was getting on our back. It was tough to change. I ended up, I think it was like 6-7 games. I was put captain.
Right. Okay.
For such a young age, I wasn't ready then, to be a leader of a changing room and that, because I was still the same, just wanted to go out there and run around, like a kid again.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that, responsibility.
Must have been a proud moment though, captaining your side, as you say. Yeah,
definitely.
Age.
Yeah, definitely. I loved it. At the same time, I ended up getting put left back and right back for the games as well. Because we were short on numbers.
Yeah. People
was injured. We lost players and we didn't replace them. We had players playing that position like myself.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those seasons. You want to forget and never want to happen again, especially resulting in relegation.
Yeah. I mean, you moved on to Rotherham with Steve Evans, and at the time of signing, he quoted that you were going to be a key player. A loan move then sort of came quite quickly to Oldham. How would you sort of look back on your time at Rotherham with that sort of pressure from Evans?
Yeah, you want the pressure. It was I come back pre-season there, done well pre-season. Started one game, scored the winner in the last few minutes, 2-1 win away to Crawley, and then my hernia again. Previously from West Brom, had it done there, you just give way, like all my stomach muscles. So I've had a different operation on that. Had all my groin slit, and then come back to rehab, and then I just couldn't recover. The way my body needed to.
Yeah.
Like as quickly as the manager wanted at the time as well.
Yeah.
So I probably, looking back, I pushed myself too much, to be back on time or before, the schedule, my date to be back was, and then I caused more harm than, I needed at the time. So then it came to January and he's already, signed players in my position. So I knew I had to go out on loan, and then thankfully Oldham took me. That they knew they were signing me still injured. I didn't play for the first month.
Okay.
But they was willing to. They put me on a different rehab program.
Yeah.
I think I ended up coming back a week earlier than they expected, and then I was fine then. So I was very thankful to the physio at Oldham at the time and the manager, for taking that chance.
Yeah, I was say you came out at the end of the season saying you would have loved to stay at the club. What was it about the club that made you want to stay? The environment, manager, just the players?
Yeah, it was probably the manager, Lee Johnson, at the time. He's doing what he's done at Bristol City.
Yeah.
With the stuff he's brought in, like I've seen photos, using a drone, filming, training sessions and showing the lads.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't have that at Oldham at the time, but, his sessions, his one-on-one management, coaching, he knew when to bollock the lads and when to, put an arm around them.
Yeah.
With me, he was good as gold. I did want to stay there, but we just couldn't reach any type of agreement.
Yeah. And say a move to Southend followed, obviously quite away from home. Were there any other clubs interested at the time, and what was it about Southend that made you go down there?
I met Phil Brown at Charlie Services, heading towards Birmingham. So we met halfway, and we just had a couple of hours chat, and you could tell like he just had something about him. Like he was walking through the services with his suit, having pictures with everyone.
Yeah.
I thought, he's managed in the Prem, he's had promotions, and just the way he spoke, you couldn't help but what a play for him.
Yeah.
Just after 5 minutes of speaking to him, my mind was set. Then I want to play. I want to be at Southend where he is.
Fantastic. So it sounds like he sort of, would you say he set out a way that he wanted to play and made you feel part of that?
Yeah, he was massively setting up defensively, and then attacking. It just give you a license. You won't really go through much on attacking. He'd just turn around and say, impress me, excite me. Use the ones on the pitch. I can set you up defensively, to be solid. But when you've got the ball, it's in your heads what you want to do with it then. Just work hard and excite me. And that was really it for him.
Just having a little bit of freedom to go and express yourself as such.
Yeah, definitely. It was the first, I think, with Southend. I got there and I didn't hit the ground running. I didn't start a game for the first 11 league games.
Okay.
I was a bit disappointed, and he pulled me in his office a few weeks before I started and said, you've come down here, we're paying you good wages. I need to see more.
Okay.
And then we had a midweek reserve game against Ipswich. I'd done well. And then he threw me in, like my first league start for them. like 1-1 against Texas, but I got the goal. And then ever since then, it was just, I was in the team every week. Probably had the best season, I've had, like goals and assist wise.
Yeah, the League Two Player of the Month award in November. So that was obviously a sign of you were enjoying your football and getting back into it. And quite a poignant season. You got a goal later on against Bury and dedicated it to your son Noah. I mean, firstly, how did you find the strength not only to play the game, but score after a devastating loss for yourself and the family?
Yeah, it was tough. These things happen. And to be fair, I went back to Manchester and I moved back to Manchester. In my head, my season was done there and then.
Right.
I think it was like 2-3 weeks. Was a week in the hospital. Didn't move, in the same clothes for a week, and then got back home and I just didn't want to go back to Southend. Just wanted to be around my family. And then Phil Brown rang me and just said, "Look, we're fighting for promotion. We can't do it without you. We need you here. We need you playing." So then I said, "All right, I'll come back." And at the time, I think if I would have said, I can't, I don't think he would have, he probably would have seen a problem with it, but, not made it known to me, just accepted it. That's what it was like. But then, just that phone call, just thought, right, you give me 2-3 weeks off, done everything you possibly can, for me and my family. So I thought, let me get back, get training, see if I can, just repay that faith, the time off.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, we played Exeter away. I was on the bench, didn't come on at all. And I wasn't ready. And then I had a good week's training. And then I just walked in his office the day before the Bury game and just said, "I'm ready now. Don't feel like you don't have to, you can't bring me on. Like, I'm ready." And then he said, "Right, that's what I've been waiting for. I didn't want to push you, I wanted you to come and tell me." So I said, "Right, let's get to work then." And then, obviously, the Bury game.
Bit of sweet moment, again, as I say, against your old club, but, ultimately a successful season as you were promoted via the playoffs. And just how much would you praise Phil Brown on getting you back into football after obviously like that devastating period for yourself?
Massively, he was massive. Phil Brown was massive, in the psychology of football.
Yeah.
And like he'd use it, in his team talks, with the way, he acted around you. I think, he didn't act anything like that, while that period was going on. He'd just text me, seeing how the family was, seeing how everyone is, if there was anything, we needed. And then, obviously I come back. And then when I said, "I'm ready to work, let's get back to work," we both just kind of switched, modes. We thought, right, let's get back playing football and winning games, get promoted.
Yeah.
To say, obviously that took my mind off things, I'm back working. I always say, problems going on, in your own personal life. As soon as you're at football for that 2-3 hours a day, it's like you switch off time, you forget everything.
Yeah.
Just for a moment. Just
that little bubble of ignorance where I think most people listening will agree it's just heaven, really. You
yeah,
can take
definitely.
From real life. A move to Millwall came about. Neil Harris was quoted as saying that you came highly recommended. Did he play a big part in your move to Millwall, Neil?
Yeah, definitely. I played at Millwall that season, done well, against them. And then, just being there in that stadium with the fans, I hated playing there when, I was playing against them.
Yeah.
But I thought, you look at it and you think, I'd love to play here, and just have the fans, behind you, backing you. Yeah. So it was a no-brainer for me to go there, and I thought, it's probably the best chance, I wanted another promotion. So I had to work out who's got the better chance, Millwall or Southend, to get promoted, into the Championship for League One.
Yeah.
So I made the decision, I thought it'd be Millwall.
It turned out to be a great decision as yet again another promotion. It seems to have a bit of a knack of getting yourself promoted with your clubs, which leads me on to Vale, where we are now. After a torrid time in the league previously, John Askey came in, and the club has been on sort of rapid incline, really. And I think you were stated saying that you love it here. The club's perfect, and the manager wants. You feel the way that the manager wants you to play suits you to a T. So we've started to see a bit of a revitalised David Worrall. Just how good is John Askey in the players, and because he's certainly turned the fortunes of the club around.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's not a secret. How the club was the first 2 years I was there. Didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, but that's when I probably started seeing, this is a job. I need to get on with it, get my head down, just get on with it instead of, enjoying your football. Yeah. And that's when I first seen it as, it's actually a job. Instead of the kid, with freedom, just running around the field, working, just kicking a ball around with your mates, but you didn't feel any bit of that. So, it was tough. And then the gaffer now comes in, and he slowly changed things. He couldn't do it all, overnight.
Yeah.
So we just started, slowly bringing stuff in, and then I think it was we lost the first 4 games under him. Didn't play a minute again.
Yeah.
And then he threw me in, and then was just impressed, with my training, my attitude, and just my work rate, because that's a big part of the game. And he said, that's what I need, work rate like that.
Yeah.
Just give me that work rate every game, every training session, and then, you can't do no more.
And so
then I've just started, getting more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then, started, acting like, a kid again in the field.
Yeah.
Just doing my own, just running around again, enjoying it.
Back to enjoying football.
Yeah, and that's where probably, performances come from. When I think like that, instead of thinking, this is actually a job. Not many people want to go to the job.
Yeah.
And think, I love this. People, it don't work for me. Obviously I've known that.
Again, enjoying your football again is clearly paying off, as you were voted the club's best winger from 2010s to 2020 with 44% of the vote. How does that feel, getting that sort of level of recognition?
Yeah, obviously it was massive because I seen it, and then I didn't expect it, especially after my first 2 years at Vale. Because I wouldn't have voted for me anyway. I know that after the first 2 years. But getting that from the fans, and probably they've probably taken me off what I've done this season, than the past.
Yeah.
And the way it's been. So it's massive. Any achievement like that over a decade of what players Port Vale have had. I've got to, I can't complain. I just can't thank the fans. Enough for that.
Yeah, I mean, a fantastic turn in events for this season with 9 games to go and just 1 point outside the playoffs. If and when the season does resume, could be a great season for Vale. And as mentioned before, you seem to have a knack of getting promoted. Could it be?
Hopefully, we've been doing well. We've gone under the radar a little bit. I think it's always good. But I think, before all this happened with the virus, that's when you want to kick on and come from under the radar. Let everyone know there's 9 games left. You're there to win every one of them and get promoted. So it's a bit, it's a bit tough, with this happening. But hopefully, when we can get some normality, the game's back, the season carries on. You just have to have a right go at it. If you don't make it, you don't make it. But if every one of us had, a good go at it, we've done everything we can.
I think regardless was that, if you were unfortunately to miss out on promotion, it's still been a successful season based on where the club were last year. And credit has to go to John and his staff and the players for doing that. You've recently enjoyed a spell in the academy with a bit of coaching. When did you start making that transition to a coach? At what age?
I always wanted to do it. Enjoyed it when I was at Bury, and you do your level 2.
Yeah.
But obviously getting the move to West Brom and going straight into the first team, I kind of missed out on the coaching, getting my badges and my education, because I was straight into the first team and they, that's their, priority, and that was my priority then, being around the first team and wanting to, try and make it, in the Championship, the Premiership at the time. So, and now coming to, when I'm 29 now, like a new said, there's a space, would you be interested with help? And I said, yeah, definitely. I'd love to do it. I've been around enough managers and coaches now, to, like I've always listened, learn and ask questions. And I think this is the best time now, Port Vale.
I've seen, obviously, you've made that transition. Has it made you see the game differently as a player now, with the amount of coaching that you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. I think a big one is sometimes, you're getting a bollocking and the lad next to you's, probably had a worse game than you. And, he gets a bit of an arm around the shoulder. And I've never understood that until, the coaching now. And then realising, you have to get through to players in different ways.
Yeah.
Some people, can take a bollocking. Some people, need a bit of a cuddle and an arm around them, tell them, keep going.
Yeah.
It'll happen for you. And it's like I'm enjoying like trying to work each, the lads out, what will get the best out of them.
Understanding.
Yeah, I think that's huge that I've never understood before, and realised. Yeah. Like I think that's huge, especially at a young age as well.
Obviously, it's a bit of an inspiration for some of the players to be able to look up to a current first team player and passing on that. You mentioned a few things during the chat, stuff like, Phil Brown saying excite you in the final third, show the love of the game. Is that something that you're passing on to the younger players at the minute?
Yeah, definitely, especially when it comes to games. You don't want them. You can't expect the lads, be robotic and be robots.
Yeah.
Because it don't work like that. There's not situations that happen in football that they're not going to happen in a game.
Mm-hmm.
So these lads have to think for themselves. And but the way you get them thinking quicker and better, I feel, is leaving it to them, but giving them the confidence to do it. If they make a mistake, they've got try again, try something else.
It's quite interesting you mentioned there about players becoming robots. We've had a few guests on, and it seems to be something that creeps up a lot. Do you think we, in the academy systems, overcoach at times?
Sometimes, you go through scenarios where they might not happen. In a game, you can't predict the future. I think the best way for a lad to learn is just let him be free on the football pitch, and then when you see something, then talk him through it. You can't tell him what's right or wrong. That's up to them. As players, every player is different. Something might be right for one lad, but for another lad, the same thing might not work for him.
Yeah.
Or he might not see it quicker, or he might see something different. So it's just trying to understand that, and keep them realising there's no wrong or right decision. From a coach's point, I think it's what do you see? What do you think's right or wrong in your head? Because every player is different. Technically, and like the way the mind works. And what pictures they see.
Yeah, I mean, it's surely, as I mentioned before, a massive inspiration for him. And you mentioned the environment at Bury during sort of promotion. Would you say that the environment at the club at the minute, especially with the new owners coming in, has boosted that, and just a general feel-good factor around the club?
Yeah, definitely. You've got, you see the owners, they walk around, they ask you questions, what do you think we can do to improve? you've not just come in and said, we're changing this, this is our way, you know, and that's that. You've actually, you know, they ask for advice. You can actually, they're approachable, you know, you can go up to them and speak to them. And that's, you know, with all the staff upstairs now, the last 2 seasons, I only knew about 3 of the staff names, you know, upstairs who work in the offices.
Yeah.
And now, like, all of us, you know, we know everybody up there. You know, just, you know, just little things like that, you know, make us, you know, a feel-good factor in the football club.
Yeah. No, again, the upturn of the club since Carol and Kevin have come in has been fantastic, and the work that they're doing in the community at the minute is exemplary. I was chatting to somebody the other day saying good things come to those who give out good things, and let's hope that, you know, promotion does come back when we get back to a bit of normality. Is management something that you want to get into when the day comes to hang up your boots, or would you go down the coaching pathway?
I think I prefer the coaching, you know, like with younger lads, you know, and just like developing them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it could be the stress of the manager, you know, managing. I think it would be too much.
Yeah.
You know, obviously losing, you know, sometimes you have to lose the temper. You know, like that. I've just always been one, you know, just want to enjoy everything.
Yeah.
And as a manager, I don't feel like you enjoy it, you know, as much as you could, you know, coaching.
Okay.
Like, especially with the younger lads. So I'd like, you know, to stay on that route.
Yeah. Who would you say has had the biggest influence on you as a player? Now, obviously, you're coaching. Is there anybody in particular you've taken a lot of their traits from, and you know, sort of inspiration from?
I'd probably say every manager. You know, you take traits, you know, from everyone.
Yeah.
And like, especially that's what I've, you know, said with the academy at Port Vale. I'd like to do, you know, go around all the ages, you know, and like, you know, help out, you know, with different ages, you know, get used to, you know, different, like the younger groups, you know, then the older groups, and, you know, like the youth team.
Yeah.
And, you know, see how different people handle, you know, like the age, you know, how they speak to them, how they get the points across, you know, through different, as they're getting older, you probably might be a bit more, you know, it's not about, you know, fun, you know, it's a bit more serious, you know, you're trying to get, you know, the lads to become pros, but at a young age, you know, it's trying to, you know, teach them the game, but, you know, while having, you know, making it enjoyable.
Yeah. Getting them to fall in love with the game as such.
Yeah, so I'd like to, you know, and then get little pieces off, you know, different coaches doing that.
Yeah.
You know, to like try and mould what I think could be best for me going forward. Is
there an ideal age group that you would like to coach moving forward, or have you not decided that yet?
Yeah, I probably like, as after football, I'd probably like, you know, to do your 16s, under like 16s, you know, to 23s.
Yeah.
You know, like see, you know, I'd love to be able to, you know, say, you know, if it was at Port Vale and someone's got a big move to the Championship of Prem, you know, saying, you know, I was part of that.
Yeah.
You know, I got into the first team at Port Vale, you know, debuts.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just
a key part in their pathway. Just obviously coming towards the end, what advice would you give to young players coming through the system at the minute?
Just you've got to enjoy it, but at the same time, you know, you've got to be focused. You know, you're there, you know, with your mates. You know, you make bonds with people there. But at the end of the day, you know, you've got to have an end goal of you want to be a professional, you know, footballer.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to enjoy it, but then in your head, you've got to be, you know, focused and think, yeah, I'm here to enjoy it. But, you know, when it comes to the, you know, the training and the games, you know, you switch on. You know, you can switch off. You know, when you have a drinks break for 5 minutes during a session or a game,
yeah,
you know, relax. You know, have a bit of a laugh with your teammates. Then, but as soon as, you know, the session's back on or the game's back on, you know, then it's work time. You know, try and get that mentality. You know, you'll have plenty of time, you know, to have a laugh. But when you're working, you know, listen, take everything in, and ask questions. Sometimes you don't ask enough questions.
Yeah, I mean, we had a chat. I had a chat yesterday with Mackenzie, who works in the under 10s at Vale. And we spoke about, I think when we first got into coaching, it was very much we had all the answers. And the more we've experienced coaching, it's actually that we've got the questions. And I think you alluded to it earlier, knowing your players and be able to ask the right players the right questions.
Yeah.
It's something that it's a long process. And like Mackenzie said, I don't think we've found the magic formula yet, but we're getting there. And we're
definitely.
And during the coaching, you're managing to fit it in with obviously the playing at the minute as well.
Yeah, I've spoken to the manager about it, and we've worked something out because, as he's mentioned, my priority is playing still.
Of course, yeah.
So we're just trying to fit, getting my coaching badges in, and then obviously like Sundays, like I enjoy my Sundays, watching them play and being part of that experience. You want the lads to go out, work hard, but as a player, when I'm watching, you still want them, to win.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to switch that off. I know they're a young age, and it's not about winning. But in the back of, at half time, we was losing to Rochdale a couple of months ago, 1-0. I was thinking, come on, lads, do you want to win this game? Let's win this game. Show me who's a winner, and then we go out and win 3-2. But, I don't think you can switch that off.
Yeah.
Like, wanting to win, but you still, you're trying to coach, and that's the priority of being a coach. But in the back of my head, I'm still there thinking, let's win this.
Yeah. I think all players, me speaking from experience, want to win. And again, it's a very fine line between development and winning. And I'm sure if we went onto that topic of what's more important, development or winning, we could speaking for hours. And I'm you've given a lot of time up for me today. One of the features we've got with the PCT podcast is a little bit of a quick fire question round, which always throws a few pearlers. I might change this question in future, but we'll go with this one. What would you prefer? Last minute winner to be promoted or last minute winner to escape relegation?
Promoted.
I think that's a no-brainer, isn't it? I'm going to have to change that question. Who's your best friend in football?
Oh, probably. Oh, I've got a couple. I'm still in a group chat with Steve Morrison, who's Northampton coaching now. I think he's helping the under-18s. Callum Butcher, who's at Dundee in Scotland, and Byron Webster, who's at Carlisle centre back. Okay. So I'm close. I'd probably say I'm closest to them three from my career.
Okay. Toughest opponent?
It would have to be. I've always found him tough to play against. Jordan Clark at Scunthorpe. Played against him so many times in my career, and I'll just come against him, and sometimes I can't get past him. He's quick, he's strong, good in the air.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch him on telly, and then the winger's taking him on. I'm like, he must be just have a good day against me. Just one of those lads.
Must raise his game for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Best trainer?
Best trainer? Luke Joyce.
Yeah.
He's just the ultimate pro, like, for me. Just the way he conducts himself in the change room, on the training pitch, on a game. He's one person, if we was in a battle on a training pitch, I wouldn't want to go against him.
Interesting. Worst dressed teammate?
Sam Pope.
Worst taste of music?
Scott Brown.
Right, interesting one.
He's into all this dance music with no words. Don't do it for me.
That's becoming a bit of a theme. Again, I spoke to Oldham's head of coaching, and he nominated his whole youth team. So and that was the dance music he was on about. Best player you've played with then was?
Best player I've played with? Probably Jonathan Greening when I was at West Brom.
Yeah.
He just glided with the ball, passing, his vision. He was just unbelievable, to be around.
Yeah. He was class.
Yeah, he was just unbelievable.
Final one from me was, is there anybody you would recommend or you would like to hear on the podcast?
Luke Joyce would have to be one. Just he's doing his coaching. He's started his own, pro academy up.
Okay.
And just like, I shared a car with him, to Port Vale.
Yeah.
And just the way he talks, about football. And like, he's had some career. I think he's got the most appearances in League Two over the last decade.
Wow.
So, he just talks so well. He loves football. His knowledge of football is unbelievable. Like, he just breathes football. And he loves his coaching. He's going through the same journey as me, but a different, way.
Different route. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we'll have to get in touch and try and get him on. I'm
yeah.
sure we'll get a lot of good info for the coaches out there. Again, I just want to finish really thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you mentioned it's quite hectic even on lockdown. To have a chat with us, it's been great speaking to you.
It's been good.
I'm going to say if and when the season does resume, mate, we've all got us fingers crossed for promotion for you, and another one to add onto this footballing CV.
I know. Hopefully, I just want one more. I want.
I think it'd be a great achievement, especially, as I say, where the club were. So, brilliant. Thank you ever so much for joining us. We hope you and the family stay safe, and we'll hopefully speak to you soon in the future.
You too, mate.
Right. Cheers, Waz.
See you soon, mate.
Ductig brand is on hand for all of your coaching needs. Whether it be to plan sessions or take notes whilst observing games, Ductig are able to cover all of your needs. Use the discount code Irvine20 at checkout to receive a discount. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy the content that we're trying to bring to you. Don't forget, new episodes will be released every Monday. You can find us on the iTunes Store, Spotify, and if you want to see the video, you can see it on our YouTube channel, PCT Football Coaching.